have that footage, which I think was really important for Caitlin to include, because it brings this outside perspective, this philosophical, theoretical perspective to the film, takes it outside of the troupe, and helps contextualize the gender theory without departing too far from the narrative storyline.
How did they develop the characters? Were they influential? Were they part of a family, a friend, someone close to them, where they brought these characters and then portrayed them?
I think that each of their characters has an elaborate story. And there were some scenes in an earlier cut that showed their process a little bit more of, you know, the way that they create is just through, well, they created a lot of different ways, I'm sure. But some of the footage that I saw was just a very organic process of them getting together, experimenting with ideas, trying stuff out, playing around together until they find something that they really like. And a lot of the footage that we have is, you know, them performing to pop songs. And we worked with the Rights Workshop, which provides legal counsel to filmmakers who are trying to use popular music in their films. It's extremely expensive. And so that's one of the reasons that we had to get creative with the storytelling, because we couldn't just easily acquire any of these songs. And I remember one of my favorite performances that they do is My Humps, the one where Julie and Jill are going back and forth, and then they change shirts and they change their...
I laughed so hard.
Their gender.
That scene was awesome. But you had some of the audio of that in there.
Yeah, I was so excited when Caitlin told me that they could get My Humps. So she chose to do it with My Humps, Footloose, because I think that's one of the most articulate, in terms of just summing it up, very simply, what they do. I think that My Humps, the way that they interact with each other, and they show that just by the way you hold your body, and just by the outfit that you have on, and what you're doing with your face, you are expressing a gender. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with your body parts at all. It has to do with the way that you're interacting with the world. And it was a big, happy day when we found out that that song could be in the film.
You can't really play that footage without the audio as easily. It works so well, like right at the beginning, to explain what this was about.
Thank you. Yeah, and the other piece of it was there's the scene that has composed music to it when the two housewives are dancing around and there's the dude with the porn eating the hot dog. And, I remember when Caitlin came up with that scene, it was very near the end of making the movie. And she called me in, because we had a desk right next to me, she called me over to look at it. And I also really like that, because the movie goes relatively fast. And there was a scene where you could just focus on what they were doing in terms of bending gender. I mean, those characters go through like 3 or 4 different genders, and then they're making out with each other. And, you know, it's a little unusual, I think.
I have kind of a two-part question. What was your role with the production, and how did you get attached to it? I mean, how did you decide to work on it?
My good friend and my business partner, Justin Francese, is the photographer for the film. And so he invited me to work with him and do sound one day. The first day was the day in Provincetown when we were doing street promotions up and down, or we were following them as they did street promotions. And that's when I met Kayla Melia, the director, and I did sound for Provincetown, Trans Pride, and a couple of other, and I also conducted some interviews and watched the footage. I'd watch cuts of the movie and throw in my 2 cents, and worked with, we had various community screenings where we pulled together small groups of people, screened it for them and talked with them about it, different types of people. Screening for lesbians, we had a screening for faith, people of faith, we had a screening for transgender people, and various other, I don't know, a few other screenings. So I, organized that along with the rest of the team, and took in that feedback, made recommendations, and then when it was becoming time to release the film, I became the director of communications and handled the entire festival campaign, all of the press work that we've done, and representing the film at festivals. And then I became an event producer and threw some pretty big parties with the film.
A lot of different roles with this production.
Yeah, I mean, we're a small team, so if you're not wearing a few different hats, then you're going to have to just move on or something.
You're taking up space. You're all doing it.
Yeah. And I just fell in love with it because it's personal to me. I mean, I identify as a queer person, and it came along at a good time in my life where I just was ready to look at this really closely, and it was giving me something too.
I have two questions. One is, when I first saw the film, I was really surprised that it hadn't been picked up for distribution already. I was really surprised because it just seemed to me like it had HBO or somebody written all over it. And I was wondering if you could address maybe why you think it hasn't been picked up yet. And also, I'm just curious, you probably have you ever seen the movie The Celluloid Closet?
No.
You've just, when you were talking about how, the Wake Me Up Before You Go song, kind of, it's The Celluloid Closet is about lesbians and gays and trans in the movies. And it had that kind of impact on me when I saw the movie. So I'm just recommending it. But anyway, so why do you think it hasn't been picked up?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's a sales agent who's working on the film right now who has pitched it to Logo and HBO, brought it to IFP, Sundance. I think there's really no way to predict. I mean, this is Kayla Melia's first film, and
She did a great job for her first film.
Well done, yeah.
I think they would, you just keep at it and keep putting it out there, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I hope it does, because I think it should be distributed.
Thank you. If you know any distributors, you can feel free to.
I don't, but if I meet one.
So I've never heard of Provincetown, and I spent the first 20 minutes trying to figure out where this was. So I was guessing